Welcome to the Political Matrix News. Politics, people, local, regional, national news. Political Matrix News keeps you informed. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the Political Matrix. It's the Political Matrix blogcast. Rob Milford joining you today. We're doing this on Wednesday the 15th. Jonathan Cole is right there in Navarre, Democratic strategist and longtime supporter of the other party that's not grand and old. I don't understand how that works, but I can run with that. Greg Fink is joining us from Gainesville with his usual 2 cents worth of stuff. John, I think the hot story of the day has to be Joe Biden saying to Donald Trump, "Make my day." Of course, he didn't say it as well as Ronald Reagan did, but they're gonna rock a couple of debates here. Talk to me about that.
We'll see.
This is true. Donald Trump's campaign basically issued the challenge, and the challenge was accepted. But to me, it's the underlying issues. One is there's already, I think, 3 debates scheduled, one in June, one in September, another one in between. So they're talking about a debate before the conventions.
Really?
So precedent's kind of out the window. The other one is they completely bypassed the National Debate Commission, which has been in place since 1988, and usually is the one that oversees all this stuff, makes all these plans, sets them up. So that was interesting. But the other thing is, in doing so, they also excluded RFK Jr. as a potential third-party debater, which he was dying to do.
Yeah, they're not inviting him.
They're not letting him, so they found a way to get him out of the picture. So there's that's a spectral issue there because there's so many topics with it. But yeah, so we went from no debates to 3 all at once, and the way they did it, it's kind of a lot of precedents kind of broken today.
Well, it's kind of hard in my opinion.
We're going back to 1960, the first debate, Kennedy-Nixon. That was in studio with, I think, 4 newscasters or writers for the newspaper, and that was it. There was no audience, so no interruptions, no cheering, no Howard K. Smith, actually, but close enough.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm a student of journalistic history, among other things, and they didn't have wives and kids running on stage afterwards, and they didn't have spin rooms.
No.
Now, Greg, what is your take on these debates?
Well, I mean, I think the whole idea of them just totally running away from the old format that they've been using is courageous on both of their parts. Because first of all, who's going to be picking the moderators? I mean, is it going to be one guy for Biden, one guy for Trump, one guy for Biden, one guy for Trump? I mean, if that's the case, it's just going to be basically a waste of a debate, period. And so, secondly, I mean, the whole idea that they wanted to find a way to get rid of RFK Jr. because he's hitting into both of their leads, depending on which poll and which week you're looking at. Some weeks, whenever Biden's ahead, RFK is hurting Biden. Some weeks when Trump's ahead, RFK is hurting Trump. But, the whole idea here is to think that, RFK is hurting both of them at the same time, because on a national level, usually the third-party guy has to have 15%. However, on the state-by-state level, which how people are elected by, which people need to remember, it is electoral college, not a national fucking election. And on a state-by-state basis, RFK is doing much higher than 10% like he is on the national level. He's doing 15% in some states, 18% in other states. He's even over 20% in some other states.
Whoa.
And so, I mean, so it's very interesting that they have found a way to neuter him altogether.
Well, for right now, but then, of course...
is that collusion?
Pretty much, yeah. But it's okay because it's the presidency.
Yeah.
And I think there were specifications laid out in the White House plan about who previously carried debates, and it was a network, and on and on. It was very screwy.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be interesting, but here's the real question. Are the Biden people out of their ever-loving minds? Do you think Joe Biden can be that up to go head-to-head with Donald Trump and not be eviscerated? I'm serious.
It's hilarious. It's like begging for a beating.
Pretty
How do you
much.
tell the president of the United States no? I mean, that's what it boils down to. So,
Hey, my dad has dementia very similar to Joe Biden. My dad today wanted a pack of cigarettes while he's around a whole bunch of oxygen tanks. I had to tell him no. The same kind of thing with Biden. Biden's basically trying to light a match in a whole room filled with oxygen tanks. Somebody should tell Biden no. You're about to walk into a buzzsaw here really quick. And I mean, it might actually help Biden if he let RFK debate Trump and just let them do the debates. Trump and RFK and Biden step out of the picture altogether. Biden might actually look a lot better.
Okay.
Hard to say.
Who knows?
I wonder. I mean, if I was Trump, I would take every opportunity to get on any debate and any want to debate. I'll see you tomorrow, high noon. Pick a place.
After 91 indictments, he needs all the positive press he can get.
Yeah. Well, we're doing this on the Wednesday the 15th, and his son graduates on Thursday from the school in the Palm Beach area. I don't recall the name of it, but at least the judge gave him the day off so he could watch his youngest graduate high school, and that's good. Last week, when I was not in the country, I was on a cruise. Now, Carnival is no elite, high roller kind of thing. There might have been a couple of high rollers, but they were in the casino. But every time I was on, say, a tour bus going around Aruba, Bonaire, Dominican Republic, it's like, hey, I'm in the political business. I just said that. I kind of made it up. And just doing a very informal poll because we don't know each other. And could I see a show of hands? Who's going to vote for Joe Biden? Out of 30, I got 2. Who's going to vote for Donald Trump? About 20. And the other people, I didn't throw Kennedy's name out there, but it was a consistent. And were the majority of these people white? I'd go 80-20. Well, actually, it would be 20 black, probably another 20 Hispanic, 60 white. Out of 100. But I did this pretty much every day. Pretty much, all age ranges, but very unscientific. And I was honestly shocked at the response that it was absolutely overwhelming for Trump. Absolutely. And there were, a lot of African Americans who were, I'm going to go back with Trump, man. This $3.70 a gallon gasoline is nuts. We were paying less than $2 on election day in 2020. And I think that this is really what's going to bite him. For the illegal immigrants were not necessarily an issue, but inflation, the cost of everything is what it's all about. Man, oh man. What advice would you give Greg and John both? And I'll let John go. What advice would you give Joe Biden if you had 30 seconds with him and you said, okay, John, you're the last guy that's going to talk to him before the debate, or you're the guy that's going to set him up? What would you tell Joe Biden to do? And the video freezes. Greg, how are you?
That's a tough one, actually, because, go Greg.
Oh, I think the last thing I would tell Joe Biden to do is to make sure that what? I think the last thing, the most important thing I tell him to do is to make sure Trump is just basically on his heels the entire time. And just keep him on his heels and basically just talk about Trump's personal life, because that's the thing that makes Trump the hottest, and that's the thing that he can't defend the most. And I mean, that's the only real area that Trump has as a weakness, is his personal issues for the last 50 some odd years.
John, you have to interweave that in with the debate topics. Yeah, they mean he can't just hey, Joe Biden, what do you think about the economy?
People don't care.
Well, what about Trump's? You can't do that.
The thing is, unfortunately, but people don't seem to care. Or they're not tying those things together. They don't tie any of the negativity of Trump with the economy. I mean, they came to see people are keeping it separated. We had a very good economy with Trump, and people do remember that. As much as the Democrats want to erase that memory from everybody's heads, we still do have memories, and we have got brains, and people do remember gas is cheap. People were, paying higher for jobs. Wages were higher. Incomes were higher. Buying houses were better. Rent was lower. cost of living was lower. Everything
Right.
was adjusted properly, and people do understand that. And so, and the really only thing is to go after Trump to where he can react vehemently, violent way, which just makes him look more unstable. That being
Right.
said, Trump's pretty well hinged already, and I don't think it's going to happen.
All right. If I was telling Donald Trump
no,
anything,
you can set Trump off.
all right. If I was going to tell Donald Trump
Good.
anything, then I would bang this into his head. I would mess his hair up while I was explaining this to him. All Donald
Exactly.
Trump has to do is run on his record as president. That's it. That's all he has to
That's
do.
it.
He doesn't have to say crooked Hillary, collusion, brag, New York, Miami, none of this shit.
Exactly.
He just has to run on his record, 4 years in office as the 45th president of the United States. That's it. I am so looking forward to a reprise of who got elected 2 terms separately? Who? Come on. What president?
Grover Cleveland.
Thank you very much.
Grover
Hopefully,
Cleveland.
every century or so,
I
we
mean,
should do
I
that.
think the whole idea is that he has.
But
I mean,
go to your
the big
point,
thing is-
Rob. I'll go to the thing in Shrek. Yes, Donkey, you have the right to remain silent, but you don't have the capacity. Trump can't control himself.
And that's the hardest part. and that exactly is the point. If Trump just talks about those issues only and just stuck to those issues, that would be freaking awesome.
He's
But
not capable,
if he talks about the name calling and the all the other tweeting and twisting and Facebooking and everything, all the other stupid intangibles that he brings with it that just drags everything down.
Yep.
That's what he has to make sure everybody forgets.
But that's the systemic issue with
who he is,
pathological narcissist. It's about their hurt, not their accomplishments. Never is.
Right.
It's how they've been wounded and defending themselves and lashing out. So, yeah. So we're going to see Joe stutter and Trump lash out at everything but his record.
And Joe's going to lie about everything.
That's what those debates are going to look like.
I mean, Joe's going to lie about everything.
We don't know what cognizance is going to be there. So
yeah, that's very true. He might just forgot.
They will.
Yeah.
They will let it in the ways that the old days of the Saturday Night Live skit. They're going to pump him up. We're going to call it for a wrap for this go around with the Political Matrix Blogcast. On behalf of Greg Fink, on behalf of Jonathan Cole, thank our earlier guest as well, candidate for Congress in the 1st District. That was Gay Valamont. I think she's a very interesting lady. I'm Rob Milford in Orlando. We'll see you again next week with more fun-filled and exciting episodes of the Political Matrix Blogcast.
Good night.
All right.